Today's video is proudly sponsored by PCBWeight.com. PCBWeight is the industry leader in custom printed circuit boards, flexible printed circuit boards, and even CNC and 3D printing. Right now you can get 10% off all CNC and 3D printing and $5 off your first order for custom and flexible printed circuit boards. Personally, I've used PCBWeight myself and I have to say that the level of service is second to none. The order process was quick and simple, and turnaround times was literally 2 days. From personal experience as a beginner, the whole process was super quick and easy to understand. Simply upload the Gerber files and you're off to the races. Being in the industry for over 8 years, PCBWeight definitely have the experience to deliver fast, high quality PCBs to get your next project started. PCBWeight are also looking for new writers to join their creative team, and with rewards from $20 to $100, it can be quite tempting. Simply head over to the links in the video description to learn more. Now back to the video. Right, hello there ladies and gents, welcome to another repair video. So today we're going to be looking at this PlayStation 4, and this PlayStation 4 has been sent in because it's got no display. So we're going to take a look, we're going to see what we can do and hopefully get this thing working again. But before I do that, I'm going to give it a test and confirm the issue. And while I'm doing that, if you're new to the channel and you like this type of content, I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so that you're notified whenever I release a video. So, not the most elegant way, but unfortunately this is the only way at the moment that I can do it because I don't have a spare capture card set up, and even if I did, a capture card would just show a black box if it's not actually displaying. So let's give it another minute or so just to see if it wants to turn on. That's had just about 60 seconds now, so that's not going to display. As you can see, 1 minute 56, it gives a 3-minute timer and it's not displaying on the screen. Alright, we do have a white light, it's just not displaying anything at all. I'm just going to unplug that and re-plug it in. And we get no change. Okay, so we've got no display. That's absolutely fine, so I'm going to shut this down and attempt to do a graceful shutdown by holding the power button so that it doesn't have to reboot again next time I turn it on. And then I'm going to get it apart and see if we can get it fixed. Hopefully it's nice and straightforward. So I'm going to get this thing taken apart. That's the wrong screw. That's pretty annoying. I hate when I see the wrong screw. Alright, so I'll get this thing taken apart then, and then I'll take it from there. Okay, so we are ready to take a look at this. This port has been changed before. Ew, thermal paste. So this port's been changed before. That is the first thing I'm noticing. Well, actually the first thing I was noticing was that there was a screw in the wrong place. But the port has been replaced in the past, so let's take a look and see what the deal is. Too much thermal paste, by the way. No, there's actually no such thing as too much. It looks a mess, but there's no such thing. So let's pop into the scope, and I'm going to inspect this HDMI port first, and then I'll get to trying to diagnose what could be wrong. Okay, so the first thing that is definitely wrong here, there is way too much flux left on this board. So I'm going to heat this up just to melt the flux, and then I'll... Okay, so there we go. Not sure what type of flux that is, but it shouldn't be left on the board. Alright, and straight away I can see that there's not a great job with the soldering on this port, so it could just be a case that it's not soldered correctly. So I'm just cleaning this up, get rid of this flux. There we go. So with that clean, so the question is, how long ago was this port replaced? And has this display issue happened after this port was replaced, as in a long time ago. And has this display issue only just happened randomly, or has it got no display and someone's changed the port and it's still got no display? Because that's not a great soldering job. Got a feeling that there's going to be some loose pins here, to be honest. Let's have a look. Whoops, 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 whoops. Yeah, I'm going to stop saying whoops. Check this out. Yeah, I think we might have found our problem. None of them pins are soldered, and if someone had have cleaned up the flux, they would know. So this here is just a, well, I think that's a bit of gunk. I think that's part of my brush, what I use to clean up. You lose some bristles. There's one here, but this one's not burnt. But it could have become burnt at some other point. Whoops. Alright, so I think we've found our main problem here. This is not soldered at all. If the last person who worked on this had have cleaned up their mess, they would have known that. Alright, well, let's just do some basic tests and just see what the deal is. So I'm in diode mode now. So diode mode is going to give me a reading on the voltage drop across a line to ground, and that's going to give me a really accurate and really fast way of testing things. So I'm going to test these DJ diodes, just see what the deal is with this. We get 0.494 volts, that's fine. 0.494, same, same, same. 0.313, that's normal for that specific component. 498, normal. Let's test this DJ diode here for pin 18. Expecting a little bit higher. Yep, 0.596. Okay, so this is a 5 volt line, that's why I was expecting it to be a little bit higher. Okay, so that's all reading normal. Just down here, there's a little fuse here, which sometimes blows. Yeah. That's fine. So, other than the HDMI port not being soldered, I'm not seeing any real issues. So we could still have a HDMI encoder issue, but the most likely scenario is that this port is just not soldered. So I'm going to add some flux first of all, and I'm going to solder these pins. Let's just get these soldered properly. So I'm just going to press down on these pins as I'm going across. I'm not bothered about bridges right now. Just bothered about pushing these pins down so as they're making a contact with the motherboard. And then I can come across with the drag method and just drag across each pin. And I should be able to transfer enough solder However, I might need to slightly adjust the location of the port with heat, because this might not be in the right position. I can't see that solder bonding to some of those pads. Okay, just clean the iron, and then I'm just going to keep dragging across to remove the solder off the pins. So what I want to do now is just make sure that we've got no bridges. I'm just going to keep going across. And it may be a case that we might have a damaged trace. I had this morning as well. So I had a Xbox One X this morning with the same situation, where someone hadn't checked their work. Okay, I might need to wick a bit of this away, I think, because the solder doesn't appear to be disappearing. So what should happen is while I'm dragging across, it should make its way back onto the soldering iron, and it should clean itself up. It doesn't seem to be doing that. And yeah, I think that's a damaged trace under there. Oh, maybe not. We'll see. Alright. So I'll just clean this up. And yep, it does appear as though we're not making a contact on some of those pads. Yeah, so we do have this pad here. This is just a ground. However, I still want it soldered. So there's just one pad that's not soldered there. The rest of them are all solid. So I should be able to solve that by just adding some solder, but pressing down on the pin as well at the same time. Because it's just one pin, I can do that. If it was more than one, then I wouldn't recommend it, but being just one, it's not too bad. So rather than lifting the port off, if I just press down on the pin, there we go. I think that got it. No, it didn't. But I think that did. Alright, let's just clean up again, and I'll double check them all again. Okay, so let's just test all these pins again. Okay, so we've actually got pin 19 as well, which I couldn't see. Pin 19 is not connected. Okay, but all of the rest are. So I couldn't see pin 19 because it's kind of hiding down at the side. So I've got to do that one as well. Pin 19 is 5 volt return, also known as HDMI hot plug detect. So when 5 volts is detected on pin number 19, that will tell the system that the HDMI port has been plugged in. Alright, so pin 19 is proving rather awkward. I'm not sure what kind of port this is, but I really can't get to pin 19 very well. No. Yeah, so I can't actually access pin number 19 for some reason. So I think, well, it's basically melting the port wall, but I can't actually see it as well while I'm lying the board flat. So I can see it now. It's hiding there in the corner. So I'll just tilt the board there so as I can see it a bit better, and then I'll be able to work with it. Okay. I think I got that. I will check it for continuity against its corresponding endpoint. I think I got it. So I'm just going to make sure I get no bridges. I'm going to run across them all again. Okay, so that should be good. Okay, so let's just test and make sure that all of the pins are soldered. And yep, all 19 pins are good. Let's make sure that we have no bridges by testing for any kind of shorts. So pin 1 and 3 are good. So the key here is just always check your work. Okay. And pin number 19 is just off to the side here. So I am probing it. I'm going to check that against its corresponding point. Yep, okay. And we've got no short from pin number 19 to pin number 18. Alright. Pin number 16. Pin number 15. Pin number 13. 14 is not connected. Yep, okay, and then the rest of those are all data lines. So now I can go into diode mode and just test a diode reading on the differential pairs. So this first test is going to give me a baseline on what I should expect from all of them. And that one actually says open line. And so does that one. So these two here, so basically the way these are comprised, we've got 3 pins. We've got a data line, a ground, and then a data line. These data lines are differential pairs, so you've got a data line positive and data line neutral, and these should give me a diode reading, and they're not. In fact, none of them are. Okay. Let me just zoom in and make sure I'm actually getting a good contact. Yeah, in diode mode with the red probe on ground, I should be getting a reading there, and I'm not. I'm getting open line. I've got open line on that one. Same with that one. And that one's giving me 0.442. So basically this filter appears to be blown. So there's a filter on the other side of the board, and I'm getting open line, which means I'm getting no reading at all, which means that from the filter backwards there's nothing there. So, and the same with this one. So there's a filter here across these 3 pins, and there's one across these 3 pins. And this side of the filter isn't giving me a reading, it should do, and this one gives me 0.442. So both of those should give me 0.442, and they're not. We get 0.442 on that one. Same with that one. Same with that one. And same with that one. So we've got a bad filter here on the other side of the board. So this entire filter is bad, and this filter is bad, but this one is good. The problem is we've got to change both. We've got to change the filter for both these data lines, the entire differential pair, because they are joined together. So I'm going to have to take the shield off. So under this shield, there's going to be some filters, and these filters are going to be bad, or at least 3 of them are. So what I mean by 3 is there's 8 total, even though it's only 4 components. So 1.5 of the components are going to be bad. So I'm going to have to desolder this. So the way I do that is just to use a bit of hot air, and I'll put some upwards pressure on the shield. So just pull up with a pair of tweezers, and eventually it's going to give way. Okay, that's gave way. So I'm going to do the same over this side. I think one of those filters might be damaged under there, to be honest. Yep. I could have done that with the tweezers because that shield didn't want to come off. But that being said, they're getting replaced anyway. Yes, I think I did that with the tweezers, it's fine. Yeah, so those ones were the good ones. These ones that were coming off anyway were the bad ones. But basically, they had to come off anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, so let's get these removed. I'm actually going to remove all 4 of them. I'm just going to put 4 brand new filters on. Alright, so all of those filters are removed. So I've removed all of the filters because I'm going to replace all of them. So I'll add some flux there. And then I'm just going to re-tin everything. Okay. And I'm also going to redo these joints here. They don't look great. What kind of solder is that? That's not leaded solder. Alright, well, I'm actually going to clean that solder off. That's not leaded solder, and I do not like the look of it. So I'm going to clean as much of that off as I possibly can, because I'm just not keen on the look of that solder. It's dull and horrible. Oh wow. It really is horrible solder. Some cheap ass lead free solder by the look of it. Yeah, that stuff is terrible. So you see how this is going kind of dull? That tells me that it's not lead free. It's not leaded solder, it's most likely lead free. So I don't want that on those joints. So I'll just clean it up. Just clean it up as best I can. Same with the pads on the filters as well, get rid of that. And then I'm going to just clean up the board and re-tin everything. So that wasn't incredibly important, but I'd rather make it look good. Alright, so we've got a nice clean blank canvas there. So I'm going to add some flux there. And to the port ground legs as well. And we're going to end up with some nice, smooth and shiny joints. There we go. That's beautiful. And so is that. Okay, so I'm ready to put some new filters on here now. So I'm going to put a nozzle on my hot air so as I can control the airflow a little bit better. Whoops. Ah, rats. Well, that wasn't cool, was it? Alright, I'll turn my airflow down to 20%. It was on 40%. Okay, there's the first one. There's number 2. There's number 3. I'll flow them all down properly once I've got all 4 installed. And there's number 4. Okay, so now what I can do is just add a little bit of flux. And then I'm going to increase to 30% airflow. And I'm going to flow all of these down fully. They should all start to move. Hate it when that happens. Okay, that should do it. I'm going to clean up. Alright. That should be good. But let's double check. Again, we double check our work. So I'll test for continuity from left to right. And then make sure that we have continuity top to bottom and not left to right. Good. Okay, so all of those filters check out. Okay, we're getting good readings on all of them, so the HDMI chip should be fine. So it's about time for testing. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. It should be okay. Just clean out that HDMI port, and I'm going to get it reassembled, ready for testing. Okay, so for the purposes of testing, this is ready. Still need to give it a clean and stuff, but in terms of testing, it's good to go. I also need to put the shield back on, this thing here. Let's turn it on. PlayStation logo. Woohoo! So I'm going to let this fully boot up and then I'll give it a quick test. Alright, so not the most elegant way to test it, but unfortunately I don't have a capture card set up that can work for the PS4, so I'm just going to go to the settings here and just test the display. Make sure we've got 1080p, or it should be automatic. There we go. Just make sure it handles resolution changes properly. So switch to 480p there we go. Make sure it goes back into 1080. And it does. Excellent. So go back to automatic and we're done. Okay, so for the sake of this video, for what it came in for, this repair is complete. So it turns out that someone's attempted to replace this HDMI port before, and unfortunately they just didn't check their work. There were a few other issues, so we did have a couple of blown filters and they needed replacing as well, so we wouldn't have got a display anyway, but someone just didn't check their work, and because of that it's had to come to me. So basically, by soldering that port, making sure it's all soldered and making sure that all of the pins are making a good connection, and by replacing those 2 EMI filters, I did replace all 4, but by replacing just the 2, it's displaying and it's working fine. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you do have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section down below. I'll always do my best to answer. If you do want to organise a repair, you can do so by getting in touch using the website address in the video description. You can book in the repair, you can view price lists of common problems, and you can also get in touch using the contact page. If you do want to support me, then you can do so by using the Patreon link in the video description. You can become a channel member using the join button below the video, or you can head over to Twitch and become a Twitch Prime subscriber. You can also use the donate button, so there's a donate link in the video description as well if you want to donate through either Square, which is my card processor, or if you want to donate through PayPal. If you are new to the channel and you enjoy repair content, I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and turn on the bell notifications. That way you don't miss any future videos. So that's going to be it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye for now.